I can't tell the difference. I saw the Walter White video, and it looks straight out of Breaking Bad. That's a security issue.
Once I know a video is AI generated, I'm skipping past it.
But what if you can't tell? It doesn't become real until it happens to us. Welcome to the Actor's Guide to the End of the World podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm Ikan Song, and this is...
Rían Shihikari, how you doing?
What's up, buddy? Follow us wherever you find your podcast at Actor's Guide Podcast. Fun clips during the week. Follow us on social media. Don't forget to share with a friend if you enjoy the episode. It helps our episode get discovered.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Meet Life Double. You've heard of a body double. This is a life double. Hand over all the tedious, boring parts of your life to a trained actor and no one will be any the wiser.
Want to call out sick from work? Guess who's ready to step in and do the job? Did someone say promotion? It's time for your yearly physical? Well, now, who's jacked? You want your coworkers to think you're cool? Pay a little extra for a stunt double, and now you can fall from a third-floor window onto a moving garbage truck.
Life Double. You reap what we sow. Life Double is not liable for loss of job, pre-existing health conditions, or horrified stares.
Let's just jump right into this. Word around town. I apparently was late to the party. I'm the last person that ever saw any of these videos from Seedance 2.0. For those that have not seen it, like me, Seedance 2.0 is the latest AI video generator from ByteDance, who is the parent company of TikTok. So they're creating a new platform or app or whatever you want to call it. According to what people are saying, it combines different mediums saying that, oh, you can put in a text prompt saying that I want to see this and this and this. You can put in a video to prompt it. You can put in an audio to prompt it. So it's the next evolution as far as different formats. This dropped within the last week. It probably dropped like 3 days ago. Yeah. I saw SAG-AFTRA put out a statement denouncing it. Motion Picture Association denounces massive infringement on Seedance 2.0. Disney already put out a cease-and-desist, which is, we've seen this before. SAG-AFTRA's statement was very clear, very firm. I just feel like a lot of times you'll hear a statement that's actually pretty safe. Mm-hmm. This statement was pretty firm. SAG-AFTRA stands with the studios in condemning the blatant infringement enabled by ByteDance's new AI video model, Seedance 2.0. Infringement includes the unauthorized use of our members' voices and likenesses. It disregards laws, ethics, industry standards, and basic principles of consent. Responsible AI development demands responsibility, and that is non-existent here. Disney sent a cease and desist letter last Friday, accuses the company of making available a pirated library of Disney's copyrighted characters from Star Wars, Marvel, and other Disney franchises. As far as creating the videos, it's more advanced. As far as the output of these videos, it is slightly more consistent. It'll spit out a 15-second video, and yet you can put together chunks where it might be more of a seamless connection, scene to scene. The one that really sparked it is Brad Pitt fighting with Tom Cruise
on a rooftop.
And I'm not going to say Hollywood is cooked yet. I mean, the video looks pretty good. To be honest, I have to admit that.
I guess. I don't know.
I'm glad that we're having first reactions to this because I haven't talked to anybody about it. I don't read comments on videos. I do know what I see with knowing a casual amount of AI video generation. This does look better.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it looks better than some previous ones. But again, it always goes back to the same question for me. Why? You know what I mean? What do I fucking care? It's like if someone draws a picture of Brad Pitt jumping over a chasm, you know what I mean? Like a gorge of some kind. Someone goes, oh my God, isn't that cool? Yeah, but he didn't do it. So who cares? You know what I mean? It's as irrelevant as anything else. I think it's like once I know, and this is just me personally, I don't know how you feel about this, but once I know a video is AI generated, I'm skipping past it because I don't care. There's no reason for me to watch it because it's only nonsense anyway. You know what I mean? It's just generated, whatever. Like, what is the value? What's the value?
Well, here's the thing. You and I are not the audience. That being said, where this conversation is going now is it's a privacy issue. And when it comes down to it, it's very, I don't know how, I would love to hear what Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise think about this. Everyone's looking to monetize and protect themselves. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise probably have more to lose. We don't have anything to lose yet.
I don't know.
It is just a continued disintegration of the attention of TV and film. Yeah. And whether you care about your money, privacy, or likeness, my mind at this point, because in all honesty, I can't tell the difference. I saw the Walter White video and it looks straight out of Breaking Bad. Someone is going to lose. It doesn't become real until it happens to us. That's a security issue.
Yeah, sure. Okay. But like, take that. Okay. Well, two things. One, I would argue that we have more to lose because Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise have made their money. They've made their fortunes. They're well established. They have a body of work. This is a legal thing for them, which, they have the resources.
You're right. I mean that their likeness is more valuable than ours, but we're much more vulnerable than they are because we don't have big lawyers and fancy agencies protecting us. Also, I will add, Scarlett Johansson comes to mind. She's been ripped off by AI a handful of times already and has not won or resolved any legal cases yet.
They have more power than us, but in terms of losing stuff, I mean, the opportunity cost is that we don't get a chance because AI is so ubiquitous that actors are being, less and less valued and used less. So I would argue that actors who are not superstars have more to lose in that sense. However, and taking aside the privacy concerns, I still don't see the value of it. What is the value? Like, you know what I mean? It's nothing beyond novelty. I can't see the value of it. I'm like, why would anybody watch that? You know what I mean? As a primary form of entertainment. And I'm not coming at this from a lofty artistic snobbery. You know what I mean? I'm saying literally, it's not interesting. Once I know something's AI, it's not interesting anymore because I know it's not real. It's an amalgamation of a lot of things that already exist thrown together in some form that really doesn't tell me anything or doesn't say anything. I liked what Ben Affleck had to say about it. I agree with that it will probably be a tool of some kind, but that it's not gonna replace films. You know what I mean? Like,
this is good because we're going to talk about Hamnet today.
But this is a great example of, Hamnet is a great example of that.
It brings up a great point, and I completely agree with a lot of Ben Affleck's takes on AI. The way that we're describing it is so binary and black and white, and I think that's not the point. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point is it's a slow decline. It's no different than us talking about vertical dramas. It's no different than us talking about where the studio is going to focus their efforts as far as what they're producing.
I think it is different than a vertical drama.
You are completely right. AI is not the same as vertical dramas artistically. Vertical dramas will be work for real humans and artists. What I'm saying is it matters if people are watching TV and film less. We are in the middle of this transition period. Disney, TikTok are betting big. Mobile entertainment is growing. Like, I'm not saying Hollywood's going to disintegrate and poof, but this is no different than conversations that we've talked about before where traditional film and TV, is it going to go the way of visiting a museum? Museums are not going to go anywhere. Going to see opera, all that stuff is still going to exist. I'm not going to argue the value. Oh, actually, that's a great point. The value of it. I'm absolutely not going to defend this stuff as art. And I don't think anyone else is. The question is real art going to decline? Where is mainstream entertainment going? Like, the bright side of this is a lot of people who are not established, I could easily look at these avenues as an opportunity. I know a lot of filmmakers are. If they aren't Steven Spielberg, or if they aren't Ryan Murphy, they are actually looking this as a tool to get exposure as a filmmaker. This could, give someone a step up.
Would it though?
I don't know.
I'm genuinely asking, like, would it? You wouldn't have created it. You would have just written a load of prompts, I think. You know what I mean?
These are both kind of experimental formats that Hollywood and the industry does not know how to value yet. And some creators are going to be able to break in if they get in early enough, not too dissimilar from YouTube in the early 2000s and podcasting early on in the game, and those people were able to bypass gatekeepers and make a name for themselves. Hollywood obviously can't ignore it, and they're going to continue to fight this out in a legal battle, and we'll see where they fall.
Well, Hollywood are not
that's
ignoring it. I mean, Disney are
Exactly.
Actively creating their own AI stuff, and I don't think they're ignoring it. But I also don't think these things are necessarily an indication of everything is going this way.
Disney is going to start their own text to AI generation.
It doesn't mean it's going to be a success, and it doesn't mean people are going to love it or watch it. They have to explore this stuff because that's nobody wants to get left behind. And in case it's a success, this is like, it could be the mini disc of, you know what I mean, of movements. Like they go, oh, everything's going to mini disc now. And then boom, MP3 just came out. And, CAA has the digital library. Like there's all of these things. Everybody has to explore it. I see why they do. But it doesn't mean A, it's going to be successful, or B, that this is necessarily how the industry is going to go, because I still think that these little sort of controversies like around this video might just be that, they might just be an isolated kind of a thing where everybody goes, oh God, this, like we're all doomed. The industry is changing anyway. And this is certainly a part of that conversation, but I personally don't believe that it's all going to go. Oh, it's all going to be AI generated content. People are going to watch that. I still don't think they will.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a breath of fresh air. I pray that you're right. That being said, in a year from now, we will look back and say, hey, were we right? Were we wrong? What did we think? And I think it's an interesting debate.
Put it in these terms. Remember when computer generated imagery came out and CG was all the rage, and like everybody was talking about what you could do with it, and talking as far back as sorts of Back to the Future, where kind of like ILM, the formation of ILM, and even Star Wars, even before that, like it started to build and build and build, and suddenly you could do anything with computer generated imagery. Jurassic Park comes out, that's a new departure. It never got much better than that, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like it never got, there's a lot of movies that use it very heavily, but it didn't take over. It didn't replace movies. A lot of movies use it, and a lot of movies use, effects in a lot of different ways, but it didn't supplant, like it didn't mean the end of regular movies, even though that was kind of the feeling that it could at the time. You can do anything now. A Scanner Darkly comes out and you can make an entirely sort of CG generated animated movie with real actors, but it's animated. We're still seeing movies like, and we keep using Hamnet as an example, but we're still watching movies like that because they are compelling, and I don't think this stuff is compelling. And I think that's the key difference.
Well, that's a great segue. So, in all honesty, when CG came out, I never thought it was going to replace movies. That being said, we also are in a world of, the avatars and all those things. I think that's good. So, I had the worst audition I've had in so long this week. And this is in person. I'm trying to...
This is a commercial audition?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out... There's a lot of lessons that I took away from it. Also, I have no one else to talk to about this.
Okay.
There's no details involved to protect myself and those involved. Okay.
Sure. I just want to note at the beginning of this story, he kind of is really, really good at commercial auditions because he does a lot of commercials and has got an excellent track record commercially. So I just want to say that. You're coming at this from a place of ability and experience.
I appreciate that. I've worked a lot of commercials. I take them seriously. If you go in person to an audition, you're one of a handful of people who are lucky enough to go into the audition.
A lot of commercials are non-union now. It's not like you're going in for, 3 a week.
Oh, if you're lucky. I mean, if you're going 3 a week, then you're the top 1% in the city for sure. Someone an idea, if we're talking about SAG-AFTRA, the money at stake here. Your day rate is $800 some. You have the lottery ticket of it running. A mediocre commercial, you could maybe like $8,000, $9,000. And then if you're really lucky, life-changing money and make over $100,000. So a commercial audition. This is one of those where you get paired up in a group or a couple. It's almost like speed dating. You're trying to find the right relationship, the right chemistry in a short amount of time. You're paired up. It's completely out of your control. If you have gone into commercial auditions and know this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And sometimes You get paired with certain people and you're like, yeah, that didn't go well. I go into one of the best commercial offices. I have a relationship with them, and I see them every so often. This was on so many levels so bad, okay, that I think that there was a lesson learned here, and this is my only consolation. This commercial office, and they usually do really smart commercials. They were really good directors too. It's essentially running the session of the directing the actors. It's so focused. There's a lot of technical. We'll take 2 takes, okay? The first take, you're going to say the line this, and you're going to wait for them. You're going to start on action. Don't start over there at the door. Keep your head up. You're going to grab this. You're going to say your second line up. The description is faster than I just said it to. They're super sharp, okay? Yeah. You have to be up for it, and you have to pay attention. My partner, but there's 2 to tango here. Partner was not paying attention. So let's talk about this speed dating. I have the brilliant idea. You want to get to know your partner a little bit, and you want to breed some familiarity. I happen to know this actor through connections. They're also really good. Professional comedian.
You went in with the guy called Gecko.
Yeah, I wish. I was almost intimidated, like, oh, I got to bring my A game. I, bring up, the common link. I was like, oh yeah, aren't you blah, 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 his friend? And I was like, oh yeah, well, you guys did that thing back in the day. Big mistake. Didn't look at me, didn't really respond. And I was like, maybe I triggered something that relationship did not go well. Or I also brought up a really old project that maybe someone didn't want to bring up because they're so much bigger. It could have been a million things.
That sounds like it's their problem, not your problem.
Oh, 100%. I'm trying to be fair. It wasn't a mistake, but I was like, oh, this is making things even a little weirder. It's actually a nice reminder that we're actors and we're actually human beings who are interacting with each other. This is in person. I wish we could be in a vacuum and I would have done this as a self-tape, but unfortunately I'm not. And we're actors in the same space and we actually are with each other. The second take is, okay, you're going to improv this one. Okay, the relationship's going to be different. You're going to do this, and then you're going to kind of riff a little bit, and then you're going to button it, and then you're going to walk off, okay? And make it cute and fun, make each other laugh. My partner did not know the difference between the 2 bits, did not know which bit was the first take and which bit was the second take. We both had to take a couple notes, and the most important thing is you take the direction. No one's feelings are going to get hurt. Take the direction and you can execute it. They have something to send to the producers. The second time was the improv. This actor I know is brilliant. It was so bad, and I think it was deer in the headlights. They just proceeded because they needed to say something. They just steamrolled over me, blabbing at the mouth. They needed that person's type to go again. And at the end is the ultimate kiss of death. They actually said, actually, you know what? We're not going to need to use you again. We actually had someone else show up. And I was like, oh my God. They said, yeah, actually, we're good. We're good after this. The takeaways, whether someone does commercials or not, it's kind of like what we talk about in class. The technical and the organic, this is no different than there's a bit, there's a, these are lines. This is a quick scene that happens in 15 seconds. If you don't know what the bit is or you didn't figure it out, it's kind of useless. They can't send that tape. So yeah. I spent 3 hours of my day. Did I nail it? I don't know. And you have 3 tries because they have a room full of people that they're going to go through. So it's the technical, organic, high stakes. You have 3 tries and it's a blind date that is out of our control. And what it dawned on me was, which was the most mind-blowing, what we do is so hard. I'm with an actor. They didn't know that I knew how brilliant they are. They are a very established comedian, and they also do, for those that know this word, crowd work. They improv with the audience. Literally improv at its finest. Maybe it was that day.
Absolutely, and I think it's a good reminder that, well, one, I love commercial auditions because it's a chance to improvise and whatever, but it is important to know what technique involved. It's slightly different. You have to play to what the product is or what the service is. One, to give this person the benefit of the doubt, and you never know what's going on in someone's life. I remember years ago I was a reader for a casting director, and for And this guy came in and did a pretty bad audition. He was kind of all over the place. He wasn't super prepared, and he was a bit, just kind of shaky and whatever, which was really educational because it was a real lesson in, seeing how people come into the room and who's prepared and who's not and how prepared they have to be. And this actor came in, he did a pretty bad job, and he left, and the casting director turned to the director and the producers and went, "I'm so sorry, he's a great actor, he's really good." He goes, "I don't know what happened there, but I'm going to find out." And at the break, at lunch, the casting director went and called that actor's agent and told him what had happened. And the agent told him, right before he came in, his mother was taken into hospital. And he was shaken up. And then the casting director was able to come back and say, "This happened to this actor." But they cared enough to check. You know what I mean? They didn't just write this actor off and go. So one, you never know what's
100%, yeah.
Two, if there's any stress, I think the first thing to go is listening. I think that's the first thing to shut down. Because I know when I'm filled with adrenaline and I'm nervous or whatever, the first thing that goes is my listening.
No, I think those are great keys overall in any situation. That's spot on. It brings up a great point. I think this person needed a little more adrenaline.
Okay, maybe so. You know what I mean?
We had so much time in the waiting room. That person did not seem perturbed at all of knowing what we're supposed to do.
But yeah, that's a good lesson. So don't be too, you can be too distracted or too, something else can be affected, or too casual and just too laissez-faire about the whole thing. I think there's a sweet spot there.
As far as when I say technical and the organic, that's something that I've learned at Leslie Kahn, where we study, having the technical aspects of acting, but also keeping the organic of being in the room with somebody, which if we're in a vacuum of self-tapes, it's easy to get lost in the technical, and then suddenly we're thrown into the room again. Part of the reasons why I knew I needed to go to Leslie Kahn in the very first place is, so I was in a fancy acting class and I realized they were giving me technical directions, like motion to stillness. And I didn't know how to take the note. And it was at that moment that I realized I needed to go to Leslie Kahn because there's so many technical aspects to acting I had no idea. I'm so glad I did. And this is kind of like the skill that we're honing, thankfully, in class.
It's a skill.
It's really good practice.
It's really interesting because, it's less frequent now, but like the personalities in a commercial waiting room always is so fascinating to me. The people who know each other and they're chatting, "Hey, how you doing? Are you working on that thing?" And then the people are kind of like on their own. And then I was at one a while back, there was an actor there that was auditioning for a different commercial in a different room. He asked, like, "What is this one?" And I told him, and he's like, "What the fuck? It's literally my brand." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's literally your brand?" He meant like the image of it.
That's hilarious. You got to hustle, man. By the way, it didn't dawn on me. It's speed dating and blind dating at the same time. I left that room. This is why no one's dating. Whatever that rush, and obviously there could be a lot of risk and reward. This is precisely why no one's dating. Getting to Hamnet now. Let's talk about the exact opposite of whatever Seedance is. Let's talk about Hamnet. I treated you like the great person I am. I brought you to see your girlfriend, Jessie Buckley.
She's not my girlfriend, for the record.
Oh, yeah. We probably do need to make that clear. You never know what's real on the internet.
Yeah.
We talked briefly about it last time, but I was a little tired the first time I saw it. I'm glad I saw it a second time. If you haven't seen the movie, Jessie Buckley's nominated for an Oscar. Chloe Zhao for director. It's nominated for Best Picture. It's William Shakespeare's life, but more through the lens of his wife, Agnes.
It's a sort of a fictional take on how Shakespeare came to write Hamlet. I saw it twice as well, because the first time I saw it, I was sitting in the cinema. Shout out to the woman who had a cold and just kept doing sniffling every 10 to 30 seconds, and also was drinking wine out of her backpack and moving around. A little bit impacted my enjoyment of it the first time around. I loved it the second time even more, and I just thought it was so well acted. I think Paul Mescal does a fantastic job in it. I think he's a great actor, and I think he did a really great job. I think Jessie Buckley was just incredible. I thought her performance was just the level of honesty to it, or truth to it, that and complexity, and I just found it it affected me a lot. And I thought it was such an incredible portrayal of grief and loss and all of those complicated emotions around that. And I was blown away. And then to see her speak about it was wonderful.
Yeah, we saw her Q&A. Yeah.
It was really great to hear her talk about it. There was a Q&A with her afterwards, and she came out and spoke a little bit about the movie and collaborating with Chloe Zhao and Paul Mescal, and just how a little bit of a process going into it. And it was so fascinating to hear that. It really affected me both times. It's I think the mark of a really good movie that it did that so effectively twice. I thought it was even harder to watch the second time almost. But I saw things that I had missed the first time. But I loved it. I don't know.
I did see someone's video about it, and they were saying that it kind of talks about the power of storytelling and the power of art. Without saying too much about the family, there is a lot of grief. There's some loss, and it kind of translates to William Shakespeare and him creating something out of that. So that alone is, and looking it through that lens, I was like, okay, this is exactly what we're talking about. Now, there's no question that this is art. I already said this to you, and I was joking around. I knew it was one thing to watch it, and it is very kind of heart-wrenching and kind of raw, right? And in watching it with you, I could feel it radiating. I could feel you radiating because I knew that how much you love this movie. And I was like, it kind of made the film better, right?
Yeah.
As far as the film, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It's not, the stories, it wasn't really my thing. Mm-hmm. That being said, I can talk about the complexity. I can talk about all the things that I'll never forget. Jessie Buckley, 100%, her performance. And it was really interesting because the story itself was like, wow, this is really powerful and everything. It just wasn't my thing. I can still appreciate it as a film. You know, when we're talking about the complexity and the rawness, as an actor, it's incredible because there's long takes. And this is kind of like the exact opposite of what we're talking about with all this AI stuff and whatever your experience is. This sits with you. But there's long takes, and you see these people really interacting with each other, really being with each other. It's incredible. And I could see what, like, you know, Jessie Buckley's openness, her availability, the experience and acting between her and Paul Mescal. This is a human experience told, and something's happening between these people. I will say, and I made this joke last time, and if you still haven't seen it, I was joking around because I was a little tired, and I just remembered a lot of the pregnancy and birth. And I'll spare the details because I was actually going through a stomach issue this week when we, like, literally getting over it when we were watching the film. When I saw Jessie Buckley pregnant and giving birth, I felt I was giving birth. That's how powerful her performance was. It literally was gut-wrenching for me. But it was very raw, and I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. It was a incredibly raw, honest performance. I hope Jessie Buckley's not listening to this, but either way, her performance was it was incredible. You turn on the camera and you have these long takes. There's no fancy editing. You're not hiding anything.
Yeah, and you know, it gave me, like, I love hearing actors sometimes, depending on the role or whatever, but talk about some of the process. Like, she talked about keeping a journal of Agnes's subconscious and, like, drawings and writings that she would do the whole time she was on set. She said that normally she needs to break out of it in between takes and go have a cup of tea and talk to the crew and stuff. And I really like that because, you know, I like that too. I like the kind of the short bursts of intensity of takes and then being able to, like, step out and just chat to people and have a bit of a laugh and not have it be so heavy all the time. But she mentioned that this was a different process and there was a lot of music involved. They were playing music on set all the time. You know, there was a video released of, like, a sort of a dance off that they had her, like, at the end and the last scene. And I loved, you know, how the last scene came about and it wasn't quite working for the director, it wasn't quite working for them, and how it sort of changed over time in the Globe, and they'd had all these cranes coming in and, you know, and they had to just strip it down to, like, one handheld camera because it wasn't quite working for the intimacy and how the ending sort of changed.
That's a great point. That's another testament to, the simplicity of it. They spent all this money on cranes and they ended up not using it because it wasn't telling the story.
Yeah, and how adaptable they were with that. And it reminds me as well that, like, you can do all the work, but often there's something intangible that gets you in there after the work is done. You know what I mean? Whatever that last piece is. I don't think you can rely on just that. I think you have to have done all the work first and all the work on the text and everything else. But there's often, like, she talked about acting like it was like magic in a sense. And I agree with that. You know what I mean? I believe that there is something sort of intangible or magic about it. I don't know. I loved hearing her chat and the way she kind of lit up when she was talking about it. And she seems like she's like a lovely person. She's very outgoing and she kind of filled the room, and it was a big theater. Those films, those kinds of stories, there'll always be a place for them because I think they're so compelling, and I think that people need that, and I think audiences sort of cry out for that. It's not all of people's entertainment diet, but it is in there and it is important, and it's great to see it get kind of celebrated. Yeah,
it's huge, and you guys know this. I love hearing them speak about it afterwards. Even actually, especially for films I don't like. I'm not saying I didn't like Hamnet. I'm just saying that it sheds so much light behind the scenes of this and that. One thing I do appreciate her saying is the fact that even talking about acting, sometimes it doesn't translate to words. She's almost scared to even break it down or analyze it.
That's right.
You got to do all the homework, but also let it go and let room in for the magic. That's still very ambiguous. You'll understand it when you understand it, and you keep going along the journey, and then hopefully you continue to evolve as an actor.
Absolutely, and Leslie talks about it too, with the organic, the technical, and the fuck it or whatever. But the I did appreciate that when she said it. I'm almost reluctant to talk about it, and it was interesting because she doesn't like to break it down too much. But it was interesting that, like, there was a lot of humility in her and a lot of vulnerability, both in the film and I think talking about the film, which when you line it up side by side, shit on Timothée Chalamet, but when you hear the quote, I've been doing high level shit for, whatever he said, whatever the quote was, and I want to be one of the greats. I mean, that's a bold way of of setting your stake, but I really gravitated towards her humility and her appreciation. It was because she had come from the Oscar luncheon where they had all of the Oscar nominees meet, and she talked about being really nervous before she went in the room and wanting to just go home and like, I don't belong here, and then she said she went into the room and named a few of the other nominees that were there,
including Timothée Chalamet.
Including Timothée Chalamet, and she just said it was like a room full of artists. Is that what she said?
And she said it was actually kind of cute and this is so weird. We're all getting a lunch and it's just this unique kind of special funny thing.
That's good for me to hear, that like you don't lose that, that sort of imposter syndrome that can creep in, or like, I don't belong here and everybody else does. But it's great to hear that people at the highest level who you would look to and go, they know what they're doing. That's a great point.
It's been pointed out, a lot of Timothée Chalamet's PR press this run actually has been a tongue-in-cheek-ish little kind of a bit. That being said, he definitely, like, as far as, top-level shit, he is very open with his ambition. It's Timothée Chalamet is also a younger generation, and he's definitely a little different than a lot of the other actors. And as far as this idea of, we talk about this in class, what if I was God's gift to acting? What would that confidence do for you as an actor? And we kind of did this exercise where would you hold on to it less? Would you be a little less precious? Would you be a little more confident when you walked in the room? I think it's a good exercise for all actors to kind of see where they fall, because you're in charge of your craft. Also, I will add the beauty of Jessie Buckley, and I was not lost on this. Jessie Buckley was, besides the great collaboration that she has with Chloe Zhao, Jessie Buckley was sending songs to Chloe Zhao in this ongoing conversation as far as the development of her scenes. That's not shy. She's an actor who's very much in charge of her craft, It actually makes me think of Paul Thomas Anderson because I don't know if he does it for every one of his films, but I remember he did it for Punch Drunk Love. He would send his cast and crew, he would show them songs, he would play songs for them. This is what's happening in the scene. This is the mood. This is the tone. I think my point is if I'm the director, I expect I'm the one sending the songs, not getting the songs. And so that's a really cool, bold move by Jessie Buckley, and it shows the type of relationship her and Chloe Zhao had on set.
Just send director songs. Like, you just sent me another Oasis song? You sure? Yep.
Anyway, let's do hidden gems. It's a little specific. If anyone is around a Sprouts is my favorite market. It's healthy, a lot of wellness. They did a partnership with Everyday Dose. Everyday Dose is the mushroom coffee. I don't know if you know these things. Everyday Dose is a mushroom coffee. That's one of the big brands. Mm-hmm. And it's technically a mixture of mushroom adaptogens and really healthy mushroom stuff, but also with coffee. So if you're trying to cut out coffee, it's a mix of, hey, you're drinking less coffee and you get a lot of good mushroom stuff for the brain. If you buy Everyday Dose at Sprouts, they'll give you buy one, get one free. All you have to do is send them a picture of the receipt. So if you're into mushroom coffee, if you're into all of that, if you like Everyday Dose, go to a Sprouts and like, it was so easy. They literally gave me a buy one, get one free. It was really impressive how easy they were. So I'll throw that out there. As a coffee lover, I don't necessarily love mushroom coffee. Mm-hmm. I do love the option of reducing my coffee intake, but I don't necessarily love the taste, but just throwing it out there for, coffee purists like me.
Well, you know what? I re-upped my library membership because I haven't really used it. I've been a member.
Yeah, you renewed your card.
But I actually spent a lot of time in there this week because, it's part of the artist's way and I'm doing an artist date, So this week was the library. So I went to the library.
Cool.
My God, the Santa Monica Library is fantastic. There's like a garden outside where you can just kind of sit. This really quiet little garden area. It's got a bunch of different rooms. There's study rooms. There's a work space that you can reserve space in, like where people go.
I haven't been to the Santa Monica one in a while. I didn't realize it was so nice.
The main branch is fantastic. I think that's probably going to be my hidden gem. Now,
yeah, that's a good hidden gem.
That's very location specific if you're in.
But yeah, that's a good hidden gem. There you go. A little love for all our LA.
And they have an app.
You know that they let you print out for free with a library card.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I just ran
out
of
get
paper
10.
Too, so.
I think you get 10 pages a day.
Oh.
Or like 8 pages a day.
Fantastic.
So it's good. That's where I print.
All right.
Anyway, there you go, everyone. That's those are some nice hidden gems. By the way, I am doing my clove water. Good God. Best hidden gem I ever submitted. Clove water. I take it before bed every night. Sleep like a log. So there you go, everyone.
All right.
Enjoy. Have a great week. And stay safe out there.
See you next week.